Phil Gohier from Next Day on the BT couch. We got to get to this, Phil. First of all, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
The Ford's making headlines
as is their want.
as is their genetic makeup. But let's talk about very seriously now. Rob Ford has come out of rehab. He has apologized in his own very special way. I mean, what is your take on, first of all, the apology and his return from rehab?
Well, the apology, I wouldn't sort of characterize the apology as being particularly sincere. I mean, it was kind of half apology, half stump speech, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then he moves from there into interviews where he talks about being the greatest mayor the city has ever had, which, I mean, is a pretty obvious non-truth.
What you were looking for there was lie, but go on, yes?
Yeah, well, I mean, no, because I mean, I'm pretty sure he believes it.
Yes.
But it's just factually incorrect.
But do you think that he's changed? Because essentially, when I watched the apology, I thought the same thing that you were saying. Because it wasn't a mea culpa. It wasn't like I did all these horrible things. Now he's blaming everything on his quote unquote on saying that he's an alcoholic, which I'm sure he is at this point.
Yes, I mean, but it was more the sort of non-specific nature of it, right? I mean, he didn't actually sort of come out and say this was a stupid thing. It was all just sort of like, yeah, I said a bunch of racist stuff, but I was hammered. Yeah. So, you know, and this is just part of the disease. You know, I can't absolutely say that I'm going to be sober between now and the election, but I'm going. You know, you're just going to have to trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got this typical kind of Rob Ford. You know, irresponsibility about it.
I'm calling it a Fordism. Let's talk about his chances, though, because you know it is heating up. The latest polls show that he's not dead in the water at all.
No.
Olivia Chow is leading, but what is the likelihood, given that Ford Nation is still very much alive? What is the likelihood that he will be the mayor of Toronto?
I wouldn't say the odds are good. Everything about Rob Ford is impossible to predict. I mean, I haven't been able to sort of find a pattern in anything that happens to Rob Ford or anything that he does. But he's at 26% in the polls right now, and Olivia Chow's at 36%. So the gap is pretty wide. The issue is whether he's got room to grow that support or not. And I think it's very unlikely that he'll manage to grow his support in any substantial way. But you have to remember that Toronto is extremely polarized between the suburbs and the downtown voters.
Yeah, let's talk about those suburbs, because that is essentially where Ford Nation is.
Yeah, the areas that are just outlying Toronto, that are directly connected to the old city in terms of the politics because of the mergers, but that are completely disconnected from the downtown in that they're not at all kind of downtown neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Those suburbs, places like Vaughan and Etobicoke, tend to be the basin from which sort of Ford Nation grows.
Yeah.
Right? That's where
they seem to look at him like he's the everyman.
Yes, it's the everyman. It's the sort of authentic everyman thing. It's the fiscal conservatism, the constant railing about spending on mostly downtown neighborhoods or on downtown projects like transit and bike lanes and this sort of stuff.
Things that the city needs.
Well, yeah, but that the suburbs essentially say they don't want to pay for.
Ah, I see. All right. Well, as you said, Phil Gohier, unpredictable. I'm sure we will be talking about him and his brother. Who knows? Maybe they'll pull out another Ford. And
there is a third brother.
I know. It's a reality show waiting to happen. Phil Gohier, thank you so much for joining us.